Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. I don't know if anybody out there knows or understands what it's like to be on parole. I've never been on parole. I hope to one day get out of here and be on parole, but I heard a lot of guys talk about how tricky parole can be. Now, in a lot of those situations, they're just making it up because they wanted to do this and they wanted to do that. So the parole officer pissed them off or whatever the case may be, and they end up coming back to prison because they didn't want to follow the conditions of parole, right? But this one particular individual that came to jail, he didn't have a lot of time. He had a little small sentence, right? This dude was a private investigator, y'all. A nice job, career going and everything like that, but he was one of those shady private investigators. He's the type that, if he's surveilling somebody, he cut holes in the wall and put trackers on the cars and all that old kind of stuff, right? And he got caught up. And when he got caught up, he had crossed the line, so he ended up getting sent to the penitentiary for, he had a 5-year sentence right now. I can't remember how much time he served on it, but it wasn't a lot, compared to what a lot of other guys do in prison. But when he got out of prison, he had a parole officer. Like everybody else that gets out of prison, that's on parole. And this particular parole officer, man, he had an issue going on, right, with his wife. And the issue that he had going on with his wife, he wanted to use a private investigator to take care of that. But guess what? He's got a private investigator as one of his parolees. So he talks to the guy and he tells the guy's name is Mitch, the parolee. So the PO is telling the parolee, said, look, if you do this for me, I'll take it easy on you. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to make this hard for either one of us. So if you just do what I need you to do, follow my wife for a little while to see what's going on and get me some pictures and stuff like that, and we keep this on the low. And he wanted this for free. Now keep in mind, when you're a parolee, when you get out of prison, you have to get a job, unless you get a job waiver. But he put it in play that Mitch was, able to do both things right in there. Mitch didn't like it at all because he felt like, dude was taking advantage of him because the services that he wanted Mitch to perform cost money. Plus, Mitch didn't have a license anymore. He was not a licensed private investigator. So if he got caught following people and taking pictures and all this and that would violate his parole. Plus, depending on the circumstances, he might get charged with stalking, whatever the case may be. You never know. Those situations get sticky, especially when you're dealing with, somebody that is suspected of cheating, right? So anyway, he agreed to do it. And one of the reasons that he agreed to do it is because it gets tricky when you're dealing with parole officers, right? Because even if Mitch would have, in his mind anyway, and from what I've heard too, if Mitch would have went and turned him in, it would have gotten bad for Mitch because they stick together. So he decided, look, all right, I'm going to do this. I can give you a few weeks, see if I can get anything, and if I can get you something, fine, we good and all this. And the PO was like, yeah, do that for me. So Mitch, he set up a few nights that he would be following her, and the PO had called him and told him, she disappears on this night and that. It's like 2 or 3 nights out of the week that she would just up and be gone for like 3 or 4 hours. And the PO, the parole officer couldn't catch her on the phone or anything. So he was like, she's got to be cheating. But he had no proof. He had never seen her with a dude. Nobody had been by the house. He set up cameras in the house so that he could try to catch her, and there was nothing going on in the house. So he assumed that she had to be meeting whomever she was dealing with at another place, either at the other person's house, a hotel, or whatever the case may be. So now Mitch is following her, and he figures out that she is stopping by this particular hotel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. She's spending 3 and 4 hours in this particular room. So Mitch is sitting outside and he's waiting. The first week he's waiting, he's watching. And he's got the camera, how they had a camera with the long lens on it and all this and that. And he's sitting down in the seat and he's watching, because when she would disappear, it would be somewhere around like dusk to dawn, right when the sun is about to go down and all that old kind of stuff. And then by 8 o'clock, she'd be done with whatever she would be doing. But he's sitting out there in his car and he does not see anybody coming in or out with her. He sees a lot of people going in, a lot of people going out, but she's not with anybody. So after a week of doing that, he's like, this is weird. She's at this hotel, but she's not walking with anybody. He knows what room she's in because he's gone to the desk. You know how you go to the desk and trick the person behind the desk into thinking that you need their help, and then they tell you what room the person in. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all out there probably been to them hotel rooms. You better stay out of them hotel rooms too. I'm telling you now, it gets tricky. But anyway, enough of that. So he's trying to figure out who it is that she's with. And he reports back to his PO and he said, look, she's going to this hotel Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. But I have no proof that she's meeting anybody there. So Mitch tells him, he said, look, in the past I had a lot of clients that just like to get away. They just like their alone time to be away from, you know what I'm saying, the husband, the life and responsibilities and all this and that, right? And he said, maybe did you consider that's probably what she's doing? She just wants to get away from everybody, turn the phone off and have her a glass of wine and take a bath, you know, with candles and just relax. Did you ever consider that that's what she might be trying to do? And the PO was like, no, my wife ain't like that. It's something going on. If she's spending time in that hotel room, she has to be spending time with somebody. So Mitch said, okay, I'll keep looking. So he keeps following her, trying to see if she's meeting anybody anywhere else, and nothing is coming up. He's following her to work on the low when he can, because again, he's a parolee, so he has to work himself. So he can't follow her 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Plus, he's not getting paid for this. You feel what I'm saying? So when he is following her, he doesn't see anything suspicious. She's going to work. She's leaving work. She's going home. She's doing all the things that she's supposed to do except on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. She's going to this hotel room. So Mitch says, okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. He goes back to the parole office. He said, look, give me some money, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to rent the room that she rents out, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to set up some cameras. So he gets some money from the parole officer. He goes and rents this room on Monday. And when he's in there, he sets these hidden cameras up. And he has some hidden microphones and everything set up throughout this hotel room. Now, see, this is the type of stuff that got him in trouble anyway. Always crossing the line and trying to do something slick. Because you can't be putting cameras and stuff in hotel rooms. You go to jail for that. You feel what I'm saying? But he does this because he wants to get this over with and get this PO off his back. So this whole room is wired up. And she has been going to this same room. So here we go, Tuesday. She rents out the room. She goes to the room. Now he's sitting in the parking lot across the street from this particular hotel. He doesn't want her to happen to see him or anything like that. Even though she wouldn't recognize him, she wouldn't know him from Adam. He don't want her to see him. So he's sitting out there and he's listening. He's listening to his microphones that he's placed out in the room, and plus he's looking at the camera that he set up, and he's seeing her in this room. So what he sees is she's setting up a camera herself right at the end of the bed. Now he's like, this is interesting. She sets the camera up at the end of the bed, and then she sets all of these different little trinkets up on the side of the bed. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying when I say trinkets, you know what I mean? Dildos and all of these types of things, right? So he's like, dang, something is going on. So now he's waiting to see who's going to come to the door. Nobody comes to the door. So now she goes to the shower. He can hear that she's in the shower. She's taking a shower. And he sees her on the camera when she comes out. He didn't put a camera in the restroom. So he put it in the bedroom area. You feel what I'm saying? So when she comes out, she doesn't have on any clothes, period, not a stitch of clothes. So she comes out and she turns on that camera that she had at the end of the bed. And now she's laying on the bed. And he can't, because the way the camera that he set up in the room, he can't move it around. So he can't really see what's on the camera that she has in the room. But he hears her talking to that camera as if somebody is on the receiving end of that camera. And now while she's talking, he's listening, and she's saying all of these things that you would hear somebody say on a porn site. So he's sitting there wondering, like, what is going on? And then throughout the night, she grabs one of the toys, she masturbates, and then whoever it is on the other end of the thing, she says, "Is there anything else you want me to do, Daddy?" And all of these different things that she's saying is like enticing. And he's getting excited himself because he's like, what is going on here? You feel what I'm saying? And when I say not a stitch of clothes, she didn't have on a stitch of clothes. And this is a beautiful woman. A beautiful woman. And she's doing all sorts of things with herself, playing with it. And I'm telling you, on her hands and knees, she's licking on the dildos, taking them all the way down her throat. She's doing all of these types of things that, you would expect to see on a porn site. Now, let me correct myself here now. I've been locked up for a while, but it's been on occasion that, I would have a phone or something like that. And I might have looked at a porn site or something before. You know what I'm saying? I might have. So that's how I know. And y'all know what I'm talking about too. So don't be acting like y'all, good at two shoes. Don't do it like that. We ain't going to do it like that. We family now. We're going to keep it 100 on. So anyway, after a couple of hours, she wraps it up. And he sees her get up and she goes back to the shower. He hears her in the shower. She's bathing. Comes out, put all her clothes on, packs up the camera, packs up her toys, and she leaves. Now Mitch is wondering, what in the world have I stumbled upon? What is going on? So he doesn't report back to the PO yet because he's not sure of what's going on. But he knows what he sees, and he's looking at these tapes that he has, right? Because he recorded the whole thing. He kept that. He's looking at these tapes and he's saying, okay, what is she doing? Now, the more he thought about it, the more he's like, she has to be performing for somebody. So that is how she's doing. She's not having sexual intercourse with anybody, but she's masturbating for somebody. And they're doing it over the camera. So now he's trying to figure out, okay, let me see who comes. This is what he's going to do for when Thursday comes. He's going to get there extra early so he can see who comes to the hotel before she does. Any man. And he's watching them. And he's trying to see who it is. And there's so many of them, he's like, it's not going to work. Because he said, I can't follow all of them. He couldn't follow every single one of them to see which room they were in and this is that. Because there's no way to know who's on the other end of that camera. So what he does is this. He gets on the porn site. Now, he has a picture of the PO's wife. Clear picture of her face. Beautiful woman. So now he's searching all of these porn sites because he's curious now. It's beyond trying to help the PO. He wants to know what's going on because he's thinking now, if she's not performing for somebody on the other end of the camera, and that's still a possibility, then she must be performing for an audience because you have those sites out there. Like today you have fans only. See, back in the day, they had it to where you could set up sites, charge people, and then those people would be setting, this is a membership type thing, and they could sit and watch you and they can make requests for you to do this and do that. And that's what this sounded like. So he's searching these porn sites and he can't find anybody that looks like her. Now keep in mind, she's not even wearing a mask. She's not hiding her face. So it's like, dang, how in the world am I going to find this woman? That's what he's saying because he's almost certain that this is what she's doing. So he continues to look, and it's a lot of porn sites. And he's going through them, But Thursday comes and he hasn't found anything online that connects her to a porn site. So he's sitting there in the parking lot again, and he hears her go through this whole routine again. She gets in the shower, she comes out of the shower, she gets in the bed, she's masturbating for all of these different people evidently because she's saying different people's names now, and then she's saying different things to different people, and then she would, every now and then, she would occasionally raise up and she would punch a button on the end of the bed on the camera. So it's like he's thinking she's switching from person to person, channel to channel. You understand what I'm saying? So now he's certain that she has some kind of way that she's performing for an audience and she's charging them because they're requesting all kinds of freaky stuff. And she's doing it. She's doing it. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine, use your imagination. I'm not gonna go into that. Yeah, I gotta protect my monetization. Y'all know how they do. They don't play on the YouTube, so I ain't finna mess that up, right? But anyway, she's doing all of these different things on camera, and he's trying to figure out. So she does it again. She gets up when she's done. She takes a shower. She packs everything up, and then she goes home. Now, the PO wants to know what's going on because he hasn't told him what he's found so far. So when he goes down to see the PO Friday, he tells the PO, I think I'm on to something, but I don't think she's actually meeting anybody, right? I think she's on a porn site. Now, the PO just has a fit because he's like, I cannot do this. I can't have my wife on a porn site. He said, what is she doing on a porn site? And he told him everything that he had. He didn't show him the tapes yet because he didn't want this dude to know that, you know what I'm saying, that he was taping her or anything like that because he was still a parolee. And he didn't trust dude like that. He wasn't going to give him that type of information on him. He was going to make pictures of all of these different videos, you know what I'm saying, some still pictures, and give him that so he can select which ones, and he was going to keep the rest of, you know, he was on some slick stuff too. And that's going to come up later on, but we're going to get to that later, okay? But anyway, so the PO says, man, I need to know what is going on for sure. So Mitch asked him, are you going to be divorcing her? Are you trying to leave her? He's like, I want to save my marriage, but I need to know what's going on. Why is she disappearing like this? So Saturday comes. But before she gets to the hotel, Mitch rents the room right adjacent to the room that she's in. Because he wants to know for sure if anybody is knocking on the door, anybody that she's setting up to see, is this going on in the hotel or is this online? So while he's setting everything up to get everything straight, now don't forget the cameras are working. He got the camera still on. She comes into the room. Now he's watching the camera while he's setting everything up. He still doesn't see anybody. She sets the camera up, her normal routine at the end of the bed, and she takes this briefcase and she puts all of her dildos and toys to the side of the bed within reach when she's laying on the bed. She goes to get in the shower like she always does. Then she comes back and she gets in the bed, not a stitch of clothes on. I'm talking about when I say fine, this woman was fine, as they say. And she's laying in the bed and she's doing her thing again. So now, Mitch, while the tape is rolling, he's on these porn sites. He's trying to find her. He's looking for membership sites, anything and everything. And the one thing about membership sites is that she was able to filter and decide who was going to be allowed to watch her. That's why she wasn't worried about somebody seeing her face. She made sure that the people that she did business with were people that did not know her, had no clue who she was. You feel me? She had an alias all set for them. You understand what I'm saying? So he pops up, and it pops up. He finds this membership list, and he's going down through it, and he sees a picture that resembles her. It's not exactly on point, but it resembles her. So he sends a message wanting to join, requesting to join. Now check this out. Now while she's in the room and she's on camera, she's laying in the bed, and he sends this membership request, he hears her phone ping. She picks up the phone and looks at the phone. She said, I got a fan wanting to join y'all. Now he knows he's found her online. She puts the phone down but doesn't answer. So Mitch sends her another message saying that he's eager to see. He's heard about her from friends. He overplayed his hand. She said, what friends? Tell me what friends, because you need a referral to become a member on my site. So he was stumped. He didn't know what to say. So he didn't respond, right? So when she put the phone down, she didn't think nothing about it. So she went on and continued to do what she was doing, right? Performing for the guys that were legitimate members. Now, he's trying to figure out, what do I do next? What do I do next? You know what? I'm going to tell you what it does next in the next episode. So you know you're going to have to stick around, right? It's been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.